Is Ron Fields out here? If you are, would you mind coming up? I'm told that Ron Fields was Lee Fuzzy Mitchell's best friend in the 7th grade. I think maybe I'll let him tell the rest of the story.
Having known Lee for most of his and my life and known of his devotion to biking for the last several decades through our constant updates with each other through the years and keeping up on each other's activities, I knew how devoted he was to the sport of biking, and first as a participant himself, a contestant, and then later his almost fanatic devotion to supporting the rest of you. I just thought it was great. I worried about his home life, but he had so many friends that it was great. I'm so pleased to hear of all the tributes to him that have accrued over the recent decades, really. But I thought I would like to offer, with your permission, a few anecdotes of before biking. I first knew, in fact, as I know, the time when he got first interested in biking, and I'll mention that to you. Dickie Leroy Mitchell III and I got acquainted at the beginning of the 7th grade at Martinez Junior High School, and he took a lot of gas about his family traditional name, but we of course all knew him as Lee, and he was a terrific guy. We began an immediate competitive spirit that lasted for a long, long time. We competed in grades to see who could get the best grades in junior high and later in high school. We competed in sports, and we both got letters in a number of sports that we both participated in and really enjoyed it. And for the affection of girls. Wouldn't you know, our tastes were so close that we both went after the same gal in junior high. We learned how to dance, and you've mentioned his dancing. He learned how to dance when I did in gym class in junior high. And we learned folk dancing and line dance. Well, it was before line dancing, but ballroom dancing, because that's what the girls were. And we had a ripping good time. In spite of the beard and all this kind of thing, you look at some of those pictures back there when Lee was young. This was a handsome stud. This guy was an athlete, very intelligent. He was very accomplished and very popular with just about everybody. And he was discerning in choosing his friends. I can speak to them. But he was just a quality guy throughout, and it was obvious. We used to play his dad in tennis. His dad was the principal of a small school in the vicinity of Martinez. They lived out on a ranch, fruit ranch, in the outskirts of Martinez. And so I would get on my dilapidated bike and ride out where he lived, and we would pick fruit all summer, summer after summer. We saved our money for things that we needed in our families. And finally, we decided we needed a new bike. And so we saved our money enough to buy a new Montgomery Ward's bike, a red one. And Lee's dad took us down to Oakland in the family car, and we had paid to have the red bikes assembled. And we got on those bikes and we rode them all the way back to Martinez. Neither of us had ever ridden that far. And when we got up Broadway all the way to the Oakland Tunnel, which I might mention is an auto-only tunnel, we decided we didn't want to go over it, and we didn't see any police. So we got on the emergency catwalk that goes through that long tunnel, and we pushed our brand new bikes all the way through that tunnel, and people came by honking at us, the young guys particularly. I thought this was great. I was so glad when we made it to the other side. And we got on the open road and we coasted down that 4-lane highway then, now it's 8, through Orinda and onto Vallejo, and then back through the orchards and back to Martinez. And I'd like to think to myself and suggest to you, that was the beginning, perhaps, of his love of long-range biking, and I'm pleased that I was a part of that. When we were earning money in the orchards in the summertime, we picked pears and walnuts and cherries and everything else. But we would solve the problems of the world in our sleeping bags out in the orchards in the rough plowed ground, and we would have gone over across the street to the country store, spent part of our earnings buying a quart of ice cream, a liter of soda pop, cookies, potato chips each. Hauled us out onto the fields and spent till 2 a.m. solving our problems and those of the world. And we were like brothers. There was nobody closer to me, and maybe there never has been, short of my wife, anybody closer to me than Lee was. He was just, we were soulmates. We later got jobs together at the Martinez Safeways. We were bag boys in those days. Haul your groceries out to your car. We both went to Cal Berkeley, got started together in that first year. Then Lee got married. I am pleased to say I was his first best man. And I was present for his last marriage. And I gotta say, Shirley, I sincerely believe he saved the best for last. Lee loved athletics, but he also wanted to get back to college. And so I was delighted when he went back to college and studied geology and discovered his main love at that time, which was teaching geology at the community college, which I believe was Woodland Community College, which I passed on the way in from the airport a few hours ago. And he used to write to me that he loved this job so much that he would have taught without pay. I said, don't tell your boss. But he was devoted to the students and to the subject. He was full of enthusiasm, and you can see that in his biking activities. The enthusiasm would just burst forth. I was glad when he got involved in biking, and it became increasingly evident to me how devoted he was. And it's so nice to hear all the things that he did for so many of you. He and I shared that kind of friendship and devotion many decades ago, and he never lost his enthusiasm for life, or his love for his family and for his friends. And we will all always miss him.
Thank you, Ron Fields.